Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, ArchieLuxury channel, Paul Pluta channel. Guys, I want to talk to you. It's very important that you guys subscribe, like, and tell your friends about this channel. We're trying to boost the Paul Pluta and the ArchieLuxury channel, and we can't do it without your support. We need your support. It really would help. The other thing is, guys, we can't survive on Google Ads alone. Google Ads is very, it's hard to survive, guys. So look, paid reviews. On the Paul Pluta channel, we do paid reviews. These paid reviews keep me full-time on YouTube. Also, you could sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon lets you pay a small amount of money every month. It's kind of like a tithing, except that it helps creators stay full-time. You sponsor me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. I'll send you secret pre-release videos. I'll send you secret Patreon-only videos. Plus, I'll send you links to other videos that other people have made that I thought were really good. So, if you really want to keep me full-time on YouTube, consider sponsoring me on Patreon. The other thing is, guys, if you want to send me a donation, these are greatly appreciated. They're greatly appreciated. I earn a couple of bucks per 1,000 views, which is hardly anything, considering I'm in a niche topic. Guys, if you really get benefit out of this channel, consider sending a few bucks. It's something that keeps creators like me full-time on YouTube. Now, guys, let's get on with the show! Showtime! Hi guys, ArchieLuxury channel, and today I'm doing my final state of the collection for the year. That's right, 2017 is grinding to a stop, and I thought, look, it's probably not a bad idea. Let's do a state of the collection, and I probably aren't going to do too many additional state of the collections, and the reason I say that is because my collection has really kind of settled down. I've stopped being a flipper where I'm constantly trading and selling pieces to actually being quite content with the collection I've built up. And I gotta tell you, at the moment, it's now the ARCHIE'S 6, six pieces that I've got there. And what I want to do is, I want to add one piece per year. That's the aim, the combo deal. I'd like to add one piece per year. And, you know, I've hit on some financially things are very tight at the moment. So I've decided I'm not actually going to sell any of my pieces, but I'm not going to add a lot crazily to it. So I'd like to, in 2018, I would like to add a diver. I would like to add a diver to the mix. But we'll talk about that later in the new year. At the moment, I want to do a state of the collection review. And let's have a look at, you know, what's going on with the collection. So without further ado, remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends. And try to get some more viewers for me, guys, because it is kind of I gotta tell you, it is kind of down. Okay, guys, let's start off. So collection review time, state of the collection, and there can be no greater piece than my Patek Philippe, the world time itself. This is my holy grail. It's my holy trinity. It's my special piece. And I gotta tell you, You know, the reason I don't sell it is that I love this piece, and it kind of, it says who I am. I mean, whether you like ArchieLuxury or you don't, you can't go around the fact that the World Time is a very, very heavy-hitting, beautiful, complicated Patek. And, I mean, it's funny, you know, when I owned the 5107, I said to myself, wow, I got a modern Patek, automatic, with crown guards, just like the World Time. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, the World Time is just out of reach. And finally now, I have a World Time. So the 5110, it's been a horological journey. I sold the gold sub, and then I got sold the gold sub, and I got a white gold World Time, which I loved. But then I thought, you know, it just sold so quickly, and the yellow one came up, and I thought, that's the one I really do love there. I mean, I loved the white gold. It was a white metal. I loved it. But I think deep down, I really did want a rose gold or a yellow gold piece. So that's really quite cool. Tastefully done. I mean, the Patek Philippe 5110, it is a top-notch Patek. It doesn't matter how fantastic your Patek collection is, a 5110 World Time, man, that is class. It is very much class. So it stays in the collection. I mean, you know, doesn't matter whether you like me or hate me, but how many other YouTube gurus who talk about watches have a Patek World Time? I mean, it's amazing. I mean, and it's sort of a piece where you could say, oh, well, what happens if you got a World Time compared to the Patek? Well, they both, the 3940, it's the World Time, it uses a 240, same movements. I prefer the World Time. I had an annual. The reason I say that is I had an annual calendar, and that's okay if you're wearing it every day, but Patek is something special to savor and enjoy. I think the two top Pateks would either be a Patek World Time, doesn't matter what series, whether it's a 5110, a 5130, or a 5230, or a mechanical chronograph like a 5170. That's the two top-end Pateks in my opinion, because they don't have a date feature, and you basically take them out for special occasions, then you put them back away. So that is my opinion there. The 5110, it hides all the stupid mistakes I've made. That is the greatest watch I've ever owned. I mean, even though I may have sold pieces cheap in the past, knowing I got a 5110 World Time, hey, that is an achievement. It's an achievement, and I love that watch. It forgives all the silly sins that I've made in the past. So the 5110 World Time, my grail, it's just superb. Next piece is the JEWELLERY Reverso Grand Date. And I gotta tell you, this is a superb piece. It is just so stunning. I mean, I bought this piece. It was a gift from my previous spouse for my 40th. I had a lot to do with the choosing of it. I could have had an AP Royal Oak. I could have had a two-tone Submariner bluesy. And I really, you know, this Reverso, the first time I saw it, I wanted it. And I just said to the guy who owned this one, which I now own, I said, whenever you want to sell it, I'll give you $1,000 more than you paid for it. I knew he's a wheeler dealer, and he would have paid would have got it at a good price. So that's how I did the deal. The JEWELLERY Reverso Grand Date, I think it is the most beautiful Reverso of all time. The key points, which I keep harping on about a Reverso, you want it on You want it to be manual wind, on a leather strap, steel. That's the key three things. Well, this has also got display back, 8-day power reserve. It's just, in my opinion, it's the perfect size. It's not a small reverser, the classic size, a little bit too small. It's absolutely perfect. And I must say that they do a gold version of this, which is absolutely stunning, but I don't think it is as sexy as the steel one. The steel one, just gorgeous. I mean, financially, I should have taken the two-tone bluesy sub, but, you know, it's not about money. Collecting is about passion and love for watches. So I gotta tell you, that is a very, very cool piece. I adore. So in my opinion, there, the Reverso Grande Horology, it's with my other Grail piece, the Patek Philippe, the 5110. Those two are my dress watch. Just superb. I got one in yellow gold, one in steel. I've got one as an auto, one as a manual. They're both complications. They're both beautiful pieces. And those two together are kind of a subset in my collection. So I absolutely adore those two pieces as the top echelon of my wristwatch collection there. I absolutely love them. Okay, moving right on now, guys. And then the next part of the collection is the sensible, the very sensible sports, steel sports stunners. This is the next part of the collection. And I gotta tell you, this is probably the most popular piece is my Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon. The Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. What can I say? I mean, this is just such a fabulous piece. One of the greatest manual wind movements of all time. It uses the 1861 movement, which, you know, it's okay. It's not a column wheel chronograph like the 321 is, but it's a magnificent movement. Magnificent. Absolutely stunning piece itself there. Bang per buck. You can't go past the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon. It is iconic. It is a classic sports stunner. I think, you know, in all honesty there, how could you not love this watch? I mean, the Omega, the first moon, man on the moon, it's a space travel. And this is the whole thing. Legend has it, NASA got a Breitling in, a Rolex, the Daytona, and the Omega Speedmaster in, and the Speedmaster performed best in the tests. Simple as that. So I gotta tell you, the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon, it's very, how would you put it? It came out in the 50s, and it's got that styling where they're trying to make it look slimmer and smaller than it is. It's a 42mm watch, and I think it's just absolutely stunning piece. They had the Speedmaster Mark II. It came out late 60s, but I think they nailed it on the Speedmaster. This is the professional was sort of the after, you know, that's kind of a little bit later, but the Speedmaster itself, it is just the man on the moon. The man on the moon. I mean, iconic sports Omega. Probably the most one of the most famous sports watches of all time. It's a competition between the Omega and the Rolex Submariner. And I think for greatness, you'd have, I mean, a chronograph is so cool. It's retained so much. It's still you can still get it with the Halcylite plastic glass. Absolute amazing piece. I mean, you look at the Rolex from that era, it's changed a lot. They've had different movements. They went to the Zenith. They went from a Valjoux to a Zenith, then to a Rolex. Even Breitling. Breitling's not really, that's not really the true interpretation of the Breitling, but the Omega Speedmaster, man under moon, it's retained those key elements. So I need it in my collection. That is an absolute rip snorter of a piece. Absolutely. And then the other piece, the sensible steel sports stunners, would have to be my Explorer 2, the Rolex Explorer 2. I mean, every man needs a Rolex. Every man needs a Rolex in their collection. Mine is the Explorer 2. What I love about the Explorer 2 is it's kind of the Clayton's Rolex. It doesn't stand out like a Submariner or a Datejust. You've got to be a real Rolex connoisseur to know it's a Explorer 2. So it's just such a cool watch. I mean, I honestly, in my honest opinion, you know, my collecting days, in the 90s, the GMT was the dog of the range. And I always thought the thing I loved about the Explorer 2 was that steel fixed bezel. That steel fixed bezel, absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning, because 24-hour time is pretty hard to read, pretty damn hard to read, and I really do think you're having a fixed bezel makes it easier to read. It's been something that I've always liked. If I had the money, I've got my first Rolex in the 1990 1016 Explorer 1. So it pays homage to the Explorer 1. It's the Rolex I would have bought if I had enough money to been able to pick. And I've always loved it. So it's dear to me. See, wristwatching is about your own legacy. It's not about someone else's legacy. It's about your legacy. And I got to tell you, that as a sports watch, absolutely fantastic. It's an absolute rip snorter of it's just such a useful piece. And I've got one of the later versions. It's got the solid end links, not the rattlesnake bracelet, and it's also got the no holes case, which, you know, from a sports point of view, I probably prefer the holes case, but from a aesthetics point of view, it's probably a little bit nicer finishing on it. So that's the Rolex Explorer 2. Every man needs a Rolex. You got to have a Rolex. I mean, as soon as you tell someone you collect watches, the first thing, you got a Rolex? Have you got any Rolexes? You got to have. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. You need to have at least one Rolex in your collection. I mean, Rolex, yes, there are other brands there. I understand why people get bored with the brand, but there's a lot of good traits with Rolex that only Rolex does. So that tier there, the combo tier, those two combo pieces there, it's really, I gotta tell you, I think the Explorer 2 and the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon, they're both yin and yang. Omega, Rolex, manual wind, auto, white dial, black dial, chronograph, GMT. You know, just very, as a combo pair, as a subset in itself, magic pair. And they're amazing. Bang per buck. The bang per buck on those two pieces there, sensational. Sensational. So I got to tell you, I think as a combo combo deal, they're almost a subset within themselves there, and absolutely love the combo meal. I love those two pieces. Moving on now, guys. Okay, state of the collection review. Moving on to the last pieces there. And what have we got there? We have got the IWC Ingenua. And I gotta tell you, my Ingenua, I really do love. The 3227-01 is the one I've always wanted. It's the one with the in-house movement. It's the true Ingenua. That the whole point of the Ingenua was to be a anti-magnetic. That's the whole point of it. And it's true to form. It allows that to go on. So I got to tell you, IWC is something I've come into later than, you know, this is my first IWC. IWC is an interesting company. They're a company based in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. And that's quite interesting, because it's got that Germanic attention to detail. So IWC gets bagged a lot because they use a lot of generic Valjoux 7750 movements, but they have amazing attention to detail. They have amazing, they really do put a lot of effort in. I think IWC has gotten lost over the last couple of years there, but my reference, the 3227-01, it's true to form. It came out in the early noughties. This is when it was being developed, and they came out in the mid 90s, mid noughties, but they were trying to make it just a smidgen above Rolex pricing, but AP quality. That's what they were working towards. And the finish, that beautiful dial, the dial surface was just absolutely amazing. You've got in-house movement. You've got anti-magnetic, because the movement is in an iron cage. You've got, it's just really true to form. It's following Gerald Gentra's design principles, and it really hits the spot. Unfortunately, the model after this one here, they decided to go back to an ETA movement to save costs. They went to just a flat dial, and they added crown guards, which I think it loses it because it wasn't originally in Gerald Gentra's design to have the crown guards. So it's quite fascinating. That is a I think the model to have is the 3227-01, the in-house, the 80110 movement. That's the one to go for. You want to get, you know, it's wristwatches are a journey, and they tell a story. And I think this one here, the whole thing is you've got to know the brand, have loved the brand, and then you jump in and pounce for the one you want there. So my IWC, I'm surprised I got a lot of slack on the channel. A lot of people criticized me for it, but it's about my choices. You can't tell another man how to spend his money. And I bought the IWC, and I love it. I love my IWC Ingenua. That leads us to the next piece, which is the Breguet, the Bregster, the Breguet. And this is the final piece I bought, the Breguet Type 20. And that is a stunning piece. Absolutely stunning piece. It's a piece that I've loved the Breguet brand. I mean, the thing is, I've often told this story, and I will keep on saying it, is that the reason why I got into chronographs, because I was never a chronograph person, was that I saw my first Breguet. It was I think it was an Ehrenvale, no date, and it was on a bracelet like mine, and I just fell in love with the whole chronograph thing. So this is the one that caused me to fall in love with Breguet and chronographs. And I've got to say to you, you know, it's quite an amazing piece. A lot of people have said, you know, is it a real Breguet? Is it a real Breguet? I mean, because Breguet is kind of, it's up there at Patek level pricing. This is kind of much more affordable. And, you know, that's the only thing. It has been criticized, but this isn't just some model they've invented from nowhere. They were commissioned to do the Type 20. That's a military. The French Navy Air Force commissioned these type of pieces. And it's a wonderful story. It is a wonderful story indeed. The Breguet Type 20. It's a true watch for aviators, and it's a flyback chronograph. I really love it. I love it. I bought it for myself. I've owned two other Breguets. I had my first Breguet was a transatlantic. Then I sold that, and I got I missed it so much. Then I got another Erin Vale, and I sold that. And then I realized, you know, I really want it back. This time, I really want Erin Vale on a bracelet. That's what I really want. And that's what I bought, an Erin Vale on a bracelet. The bracelet, you know, the length, it was too short. I didn't have the box, and I've managed to piece it all together now. Expensive as it was, but that's what I've done there. I've pieced it together, and it's a journey. It's a horological journey. That's what it is. It's a horological journey. So, in my opinion there, what do I think of this thing here, the Breguet itself there? Well, I love it. I love Breguets. I love it. And I think it fits nicely. You know, I gotta say, I think my collection itself there, I've got three tiers. I've got the Grail, the Hortorology, which is the Patek, and the JEWELLERY Reverso. They're kind of my really amazing, beautiful pieces. And I'm happy I got a steel and a precious metal, a manual wind and an automatic. Two very different complications. One's an 8-day power reserve. The other one is a world time. Just an amazing complication. That's my high end. Then I got my Steel Sports Stunners, which is my Explorer 2 and the Omega Speedmaster. Man on the moon, man on the moon, man on the moon, man on the moon. So those pieces there, very special to me. Just very good bang per buck, great Steel Sports Stunners. And I couldn't live without them. I think I need those in the collection. They're a good base. And then I've got two wacky pieces, the IWC and the Breguet. They are both brands which do suffer a bit of depreciation. You want to buy those on the used market. You don't want to buy those new. And they're both kind of very interesting. The Breguet has got a story to tell, and the IWC has got a great story. Both very, they may be a lesser brand, but well regarded for quality and attention to detail. So that's the state of the collection review, and I'm looking at I probably aren't going to do heaps of these state of the collection reviews, because I've really settled on those 6 pieces. I don't see myself, at least I hope I won't have to sell any of those. I'm hoping I don't have to sell any of those, so that I can just hold, enjoy. And what I'm trying to do is hold and enjoy those and just very slowly add another one. I'm looking at adding a diver. Now I know Rudy's going to say, why don't I add a blank pane? Well, I'm not in that league. I'd really be happy to add a Breitling Super Ocean Heritage. I quite like the design. I quite like it. It's also more affordable. We'll see how I go. I haven't made any 100% decisions yet. I'm still working on the collection. And yeah, that's state of the collection 2017. Guys, comments! Put comments below. What do you think? What do you think of the collection? I'm Paul Pluta on the ArchieLuxury channel. Tell me what you guys think of that.
Okay.